Lep pozdrav, tokrat studija Evropskega parlamenta v Bruslju. V izredni oddaji Komentar Evropskega parlamenta bomo gostili podpredsednika Evropskega parlamenta, gospoda Aleja Vidal Quadrasa, ki nam bo podal odgovore na vprašanja o aktualnih izzivih Evropske unije. Mr. Alejo Vidal Quadras, thank you very much for visiting us in the EP studio.
Thank you very much.
My warm welcome. For the first question, I would like to begin with the words of European Commissioner, Mr. Olli Rehn, who said that in the field of European monetary and economic policy, it's time for the big steps. Beside Greece, Ireland and Portugal, also Spain and Cyprus requested for help from European Fund. What, in your opinion, in what way EU guarantees for the debts of these states, and what are the current options for fresh inflows into the European Union budget?
Yes, you are absolutely right. In the past, indebted member states have been helped by bailouts from the European Union and the IMF. The European Financial Stability Facility was created for that purpose in 2010 as an emergency bailout fund, and the European Central Bank bought government bonds to keep yields from rising too high. At the Eurozone summit 2 weeks ago, very recently, the European Stability Mechanism was finalized. This mechanism is run by the European Central Bank. It will manage a permanent rescue program to replace the old European Stability Fund. It will have the possibility to inject funds directly into banks. This is very important, not to the states, but directly into the banks. This has the advantage of not adding public debt levels to the public treasuries, and this is very good for some countries, like my country, for instance, like Spain, and other countries that have this problem of very heavy debts. Other growth boosting decisions made at the summit include increasing the European Investment Bank's capital by 10 billion euro. And that will multiply the firepower of the bank by 10. That will relocate structural funds in support of youth employment. In some countries, youth unemployment is 50%, which is really tragic. Also launching a pilot phase for project bonds in transport, energy, and broadband infrastructure. Current economic events have, in my opinion, highlighted the need for more common governance. No member state is fully economically independent, and the way in which we manage our manage or mismanage the financial and fiscal crisis has a huge effect on the global economy.
Okay, and now let me continue with energetic efficiency topics on which you are also focused on. If we look at Europe's growth strategy 2020, how could energetic efficiency create new jobs, and where, maybe on which sectors in Europe has the biggest potential to build its energetic efficient society?
Well, as you know, improving energy efficiency by 20% by 2020 is one of the 3 main goals established by the EU for its energy policy, because of its great advantages. First of all, efficiency cut costs, thus enhancing the competitiveness of European industry, and helps to guarantee security energy supply, and that reduces our dependency on energy imports. Furthermore, it is considered the most cost-effective way to avoid an increase in greenhouse emissions. Last but not least, the technological progress that European energy companies and enterprises could achieve in this field would give us an advantage over our competitors abroad. All these benefits explain why energy efficiency is a common goal for every member state. There is then potential to create jobs related to energy efficiency services and also products whose market would be not only European but global. Although we have made a lot of progress with the approval of several directives on different matters like energy performance of buildings, energy and use efficiency, energy services, eco-design of products, labeling of energy-related products, cogeneration also. In spite of that we have done many things, there is still room to improve. There is a wide range of measures which can be taken to improve our energy efficiency, building renovation, the usage of smart meters, promotion of demand response activities, implementation of energy audits, and further development of cogeneration.
Mm-hmm. And if you maybe take a look on the European energy efficient building sector, what is the level of energy efficient buildings in Europe?
Well, building sector represents, and this is something that many people are not aware of, but building sector represents 40% of European Union total energy consumption. So it constitutes a main target for our energy efficiency policy. That's why in 2010 a directive was adopted to replace the old one, of which, by the way, I was the rapporteur of the old one in 2002. And this directive compels member states to put in place minimum requirements to improve buildings' energy performance. We have seen great advantages and great advances in new buildings which have been constructed. The aim being that by the 31st of December 2010, all new buildings shall be nearly zero energy in terms of consumption. However, with regards to already existing buildings, the rate of building renovation is not satisfactory. It needs to be increased. In addition, within this sector, the building sector, there is one element which efficiency must be clearly improved, and this is space heating. It represents 60% of the European Union households' energy consumption, and other problem that can be addressed that is the difficulty of finding funds to implement energy efficiency measures, mainly in this time of crisis, and the low uptake of most efficiency appliances and the lack of appropriate training for architects, engineers, craftsmen, installers, and most notably for those involved in refurbishment. We must implement a culture of efficiency. There is also the fact that not enough customers use energy efficiency services provided by energy companies. And also there is the issue of split incentives for upgrading energy performance when the owner and the property are not the same person. And there is a problem that we must also deal with.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And last but not least, European external policy. What are your words for describing now the roles of the European Union in the global governance? It is maybe felt that, especially in bad economic times for Europe, the world global powers like Russia, US, China strive to a higher level of independence.
Yes, that's very true. But the European Union contains over 500 million citizens, and as such should not be underestimated in terms of potential. Some say it is impossible for 27 countries to agree on foreign policy, and indeed sometimes member states hold positions that are difficult to reconcile. But in many cases, shared values and goals means that an agreement can be quickly reached. The European Union has already made a difference on the world stage, such as stabilizing Europe through enlargement and the incentive of accession. Also, restrictive measures, such as those currently in place designed to cripple the Iranian regime, and all the more effective because they come as a coordinated effort rather than from individual states. In May, the President of the European Council, Herman Van Rompuy, delivered a speech at Chatham House on Europe's global role, in which he stressed the importance of the EU working as a club, he said, not to sacrifice individual identities, but rather to leverage strength, but aligning positions and pooling resources. Given the power shift away from the West in recent years, it is all the more important that we stand together in order that our voices should not be drawn out by other powers, big powers, like Russia, China, and others.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to conclude with the question about signing Iraq-EU partnership agreement in May, which signed the European Parliament delegation. Where are the main progress made in Iraq-European Union partnership by signing this agreement?
Yes, this is a very interesting point. The Iraq-EU partnership agreement was signed on the 11th May by Lady Ashton, the High Representative for Foreign and Security Policy, and by Mr. Zabari, who is the Iraqi Foreign Minister. Given that this is the first such agreement between Iraq and the European Union, and that it lays out more long-term goals, I think it is an important step in cementing the relationship and acknowledging common values. The agreement has a big focus on trade and investment, of course, which are vital for Iraqi economy and for backing up what is being done politically. Strengthening democracy by promoting human rights, building up infrastructure, and helping to combat terrorism and weapons of mass destruction. Of course, there are many subjects yet to be tackled, and there is room for cooperation, for deeper cooperation on issues such as health, energy, education. But the channel of communication is open, and the agreement establishes a parliamentary cooperation committee, a permanent parliamentary cooperation committee with annual dialogue between members of this parliament, of the European Parliament, and members of the Iraqi Parliament.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Alejo Vidal Quadras, many thanks for participation, for your participation in interview. My best wishes to you.
It's always a pleasure to speak to Slovenian media because I have visited several times your country, which is indeed a lovely country and a very important and appreciated member of the European Union.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Thanks to you.
Spoštovane gledalke, dragi gledalci, najlepša hvala za vašo pozornost. Toliko zaenkrat iz Bruslja in nasvidenje.